quest for perfection. It can destroy progress, joy, and self-confidence.
In this episode, we discuss our own personal experience of perfectionism and how it hindered our own success. Furthermore, we offer advice and tips on how to move through perfectionism so it no longer holds you back.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. How are you all? We are recording this when the UK has descended into even...
I thought you were going to watch it. I thought I should have some sleigh bells going in the background.
Well, we are about to go into Christmas, actually. It's on Friday, isn't it? Christmas Day? Friday.
It is Friday.
But actually, I wasn't about to say that. Yes, we are looking towards Christmas, but actually, we're also recording this when the UK is going through even more difficult times. We're basically locked out of the whole of the rest of the world right now. So, found that out on the news this morning.
Yes, it's a tricky situation. But I'm sure lots of you around the world, wherever you're listening, are experiencing, unfortunately, similar kinds of experiences. It's a funny old time. 2020 is the year that just keeps on giving.
It really, really does. Listen, we don't want to. This is about today. We're talking to you about perfectionism.
We are.
But we do want to just say, listen, guys. I know it's a tough time for everyone right now. We are actually doing. If you are listening to this in real time and you've listened to it in time, we are actually going to be doing a Boxing Day live workout.
Oh, good shout, Claire.
A Boxing Day live workout with you. Why are we doing it? Because we need the connection as much as you. Our Christmas looks very different this year as we thought it was going to look. So does everyone else's. Some people are not necessarily with anyone because of travel restrictions, and we just wanted to bring people together in an awesome community inside our Facebook group, which is the Midlife Mentors community. We're doing that 8:30 a.m. UK time, Boxing Day. We just wanted to give some, all of you and us something to focus on that's really healthy for the body and the mind, and obviously blow away some of the Christmas cobwebs, the mulled wine and mince pies as well.
Exactly. And we want to say a big thank you as well, because we have been shooting around the charts in various places around the world. I think
we have.
It's been inside the top 20 in Saudi Arabia for alternative health or health and fitness. In the top 5 in Thailand for alternative health, I think. And in the UK, we were just sitting outside the top 50 for alternative health, which is amazing. So thank you. If you are listening, thank you so much. Please do tell all your friends. We'd love to grow our audience. The more the merrier.
And also, the reviews really, really help. Good reviews, obviously, if you're enjoying this. If you do enjoy the Midlife Mentors podcast, we love doing it so much. We can't tell you how much we enjoy recording these. And if you enjoy them as much as we do, then your reviews are hugely helpful to us, because then more people will get to listen to this good stuff.
Exactly. So this week, as Claire said, we're talking about perfectionism, and the reason we're talking about that is it's something that's affected us personally, and it's so common for so many of our clients as well. And we live in, I think, a culture and a society where there's a lot of pressure to be, if not perfect, very near it.
Stepford wives.
Yeah. Or, it's good to have standards to aim for. Are we actually dishonouring ourselves by aiming for too much? And are we holding ourselves back in our quest for perfectionism?
Yeah, I think that this is something that I have very personal experience of. So when James and I first got together and we first started working in the business together, it used to drive James absolutely up the wall with how I would have to get every duck in the row again and again and again, all my ducks in a row. Then I'd scatter them a little bit, and then I'd get them all in a row again, just to make sure that they're all in a row, and then I'd change the rows, and I think you get the picture. I was an absolute nightmare, and here's the thing, this procrastination was just a way of my resistance from growing, basically. It's a way of me holding myself back because I didn't feel enough, I didn't feel ready, all these things that were coming from within me. The perfectionism was an outside reflection of what I was feeling on the inside, but I think it really, really, really held me back, and I wasn't even aware that I was doing it very much until James nicely pointed it out, then sometimes didn't nicely point it out. But actually, I'm a recovering perfectionist big time, and it held me back for a really, really long time, stopped me doing some things that I really wanted to do, and I suppose wasted, I don't think anything's wasted, but did waste a little bit, quite a lot of my time, a lot of my life, not necessarily moving forward because I was waiting for the perfect time, me to feel perfect, me to feel enough, and circumstances to be perfect, and they just do not exist, and I know that now.
Exactly, and perfectionism can be very debilitating, and literally fortunes have been made and lost. I think company history is littered with cases of organisations that have strived to create a new product, but then held off the launch until it was better, and a competitor's just come to market with something that is good and has wiped the floor with them. I think I'm right in saying this is the VHS and Betamax. For those of you, well, you're our age group, so remember the battle of the videotape formats. As I understand it, Betamax is or was actually a much better product, but they were so concerned with refining it further and further and further. It was way behind the VHS at the time. Betamax seriously got round to launching as a technologically better product with better, visuals and all the rest of it. VHS had the market by a stranglehold, and this has been repeated so many times through history and through modern history with companies, holding back on a launch while they refine, and then other people enter the market and beat them to it.
Yeah, and I think the reason we wanted to do this was because we see this so much in clients. The more we evolve in our business, the more clients we service and work with, the more we understand there are such common themes. And actually, a lot of people come to us, even us. We feel like this to a degree. You think your problems are unique, and you think that you're alone with these feelings, and you're just like, oh, why can't I sort my head out? Why can't I sort my life out? Actually, the challenges that we have, all of us, are actually really similar, and we kept seeing clients kind of saying, I wanted to do it all really, really well this week, and I haven't, so I've fallen off the wagon, and I'm finding it really hard to start, and I'm just beating myself up. So can I do this bit again, or can I do this bit a bit better, and am I pushing myself in this way? And actually, underlying it all, James and I were asking ourselves why this was. There's a whole myriad of reasons, but seeking perfectionism within themselves was a really, really strong theme. And I think it is that drives the all or nothing approach that we see so often and so many people tell us about. The expectations to do everything perfectly, and when it's not done perfectly, because life can't be done perfectly. It's not. Loads of stuff comes up, throws you off course. We're dealing with lots of things in the world right now. When perfect isn't realistic, you fall off the wagon. And the thing is, that then takes away and steals your joy. It also steals your self-confidence, because every time it's harder to start.
Well, I was going to chip in there, actually, say, you're talking there about examples of people that start and then worry if they're doing it right or following the correct process. But the other really common one is what we call failure to launch syndrome, where, and this could relate to, a workout plan, an eating plan, combination.
This was me.
Therapy that you're seeking. I've seen this all the time. People are like, well, I just want to, research this approach, that approach, this approach, that approach. Oh, I don't know which one. I'm not sure if now is the right time. And they come up with a whole, rather than just going, I'm just going to try this thing for a while and see how I gel with it. They'll just get lost in wanting to find what will be the perfect approach for them.
Yeah.
The old failure to launch syndrome there.
Yeah, that was me over and over and over again. It is really painful to keep yourself locked in that, and I get it, but I was that person that would constantly research. Like we say a lot, we have had coaches, we've had business coaches, we've hired lots of people to help us along the way. We worked out, actually, we've only been on this kind of journey for a few years. It feels like a really, really long time, doesn't it?
In the best way, darling.
Yeah, in the best way, darling. We had a memory pop up on Facebook. I was like, was that only that long ago. I thought it was years and years and years ago. But, we have invested and hired people to help us. Some of it's worked, some of it hasn't. But I was really, really risk averse. I was really, really anxious about doing that because I needed it all to be perfect. I needed to know that the whole thing was perfect before I took a step forward. And I'm so glad. I am so grateful to have James on my side on my team, because James is not a perfectionist.
Excuse me?
James is not a perfectionist. He does things very well. He knows his stuff. He's so super intelligent, so super clever, as all of you know. But he doesn't hone messages. He doesn't really, really think things through like I do. And the coming together of that is pretty wonderful. But he's allowed me to step forward into the unknown without certainty of perfectionism, without certainty that it's going to work. And I'm so grateful for that.
I know. We're a good counterbalance to each other, because I guess in the past, if I'm being honest, I could have been a little bit slapdash in some things sometimes.
Still is.
So I've actually raised my standards to make sure the things that we're putting out are better, and at the same time,
bless you,
which is thanks to you, and at the same time you've come around that thing of good enough is good enough. Listen, we're in a kind of weird situation that we're putting stuff out for public consumption, which obviously puts you in the arena, so to speak.
It terrified me, guys. It really terrified me. It didn't James so much. It terrified me.
But even if you're just going after personal goals, like a health goal or a business goal, something you set up for yourself, this fear, of course you want to put something out there that's good. If you want to go for a goal, you want to make sure you're going on the right approach. But sometimes, or most of the time, good enough is good enough. If it's working, great. You can then start to refine it after that. You don't want to get caught up in the refining before you launch, which is where so many people come unstuck. I'd like to read something here from Brené Brown, actually.
Oh, I wondered when you were going to read this.
Brené Brown.
We love the Brené Brown.
It's about recognising the difference between healthy striving and perfectionism. So she describes healthy striving as seeking excellence from a place of wholeness. That is being happy with who you are and knowing that you can be even better. Whereas perfectionism comes from a feeling of not being good enough, and feeling that if I achieve X or I achieve Y, I'll finally be able to feel good about myself. And of course, we've talked about this. This is like delayed gratification and focusing on the destination, not the journey, always leads to disappointment. She says, to put it another way, healthy striving is about honouring yourself by endeavouring to achieve your full potential, whereas perfectionism is dishonouring yourself by telling yourself that there are certain things or certain areas where you are not enough. So I think that's a really good way of looking at it.
So really powerful. If you can hear tapping, I actually just made a note to myself, because we've got, as we always do on the Midlife Mentors podcast, we always give you some kind of hints and tips to finish off, so that, actionable stuff that helps you think about moving forward and what you can do. But I've just thought of another one there, so I've just put that down. If you could hear the tapping, you just inspired me. But yeah, it's so true. I think also there is a lot of evidence that says people with quite a vocal inner critic. Now, we did this podcast last week. It was last week, wasn't it, that it launched?
It was, with Steve.
With Steve, the amazing Steve. So there is research to suggest people with a really, really vocal inner critic is also a high perfectionist. So high level perfectionist, and those people that are striving excellent to reach excellence all the time, that inner critic is driving them to be perfect all the time. So there is a link actually between our podcast that we did last week and the perfectionism. And I know this is where mine definitely came from, and I am so proud of myself that I am actually dancing, as Steve says, with my inner critic more, because it is helping me overcome this perfectionism which just stagnated me constantly. But it is that inner critic that just says, oh, come on, you're not doing it in the way that person does it. Look at them, they're doing it so much better. Why do you think that you can do this? Oh no, that's not good enough. It's just not good enough. You need to try harder. You need to do it this way. And that's your inner critic's way of just keeping you locked in this vicious cycle of never ever moving forward and never becoming the fullest, most actualized version of you, which we all deserve so deeply.
Esme, as human beings, we're very blessed to have this consciousness and these amazing brains and be able to adapt. But this imagination we have can also be such a burden sometimes. And I was thinking then, you think about, I'm going to go off on here, like be the dog. When a dog runs after the ball on the beach, I'm assuming I'm totally humanising here. But as human beings, we're like, did I use the right technique to chase after that ball? That person looked after they chased the ball much. The dog just chases the ball. It's just happy chasing the ball. It's not looking at other dogs chasing the ball, going, "Oh, look at that dog's technique." So I'm being slightly facetious there, but we could learn a lot.
He does humanise dogs, by the way. He says, I'm slightly humanising them. Slightly is an understatement. I cannot tell you how much he thinks Lola is a human being. It's quite sweet, actually. But so we want to go into the tips, but we've covered some of them, but we'll just recap. I just want to say this before we go into them. Consistency is more important than doing things perfectly. We must get over the idea that it's 100% or nothing at all. And I would say, when you're expecting that level of perfectionism from yourself, just ask yourself, would you expect that from a friend or a loved one? Would you expect that level of pressure and perfectionism on someone that you love? And if you were saying the same thing out loud to a friend or a loved one, you'd be like, they wouldn't be your friends or loved ones anymore. So just be really, really aware of what that inner voice is saying that's trying to drive that perfectionism. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is one from personal experience, We're really disciplined about sticking with our reps, whether they're the physical or the mindset, we stick and do them. And some days you feel really on top of it and really engaged. We're going, other days you just don't feel it. And you don't even think that it's working. This goes for the mental stuff as well as something in the gym. You're like, even though you're still moving the weights, you're like, ugh, I'm just not feeling it.
We do it
but
anyway.
It's really important to do it anyway because you're reinforcing your neural pathways, reinforcing your subconscious, and there is still some progress there. So consistency. Was it consistency trumps perfection every time? There is that saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why we want to do this podcast, because this is what we end up telling our clients. It's like, it's all or nothing. I'm not doing it properly enough. Oh, I fell off the wagon a little bit there. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. Life can't be perfect. It's totally unrealistic, and you are setting yourself up for such high expectations, and you will fail by putting those expectations down. So it's all about telling our clients and ourselves as well that it's okay to have highs and lows on this. So tip 1, accept that good enough is enough.
Yeah, good enough is good enough. That's
good
one of my
enough is
sayings.
good enough.
I'm always shouting that at Claire.
Just get it out. Get the thing out of the door, Claire.
Like, you've missed a spot there when you clean the bathroom. I'm like, good enough is good enough, Claire.
He doesn't get away with that. I have to say. Also, compare yourself to your own goals. Listen, we spend, like we've said throughout this, but Jane said right at the beginning, we are in a society where you see everyone's highlight reels, and it all looks so frigging perfect, doesn't it? But I promise you, they've got their cross to bear. They've got their own stuff going on, and their lives will not be perfect. So the only way to really live in joy is just to have your own benchmark of your own goals and compare yourself to how far and quickly and how committed you are to moving towards those goals, not anyone else's. Because when all said is done, I hate to be morbid, but the only thing that's going to matter at the end of your precious, beautiful gift of a life is how well you lived yours, not anyone else's. In fact, you'll look back and go, why did I spend so much time comparing my journey to everyone else's?
Again, it's one of these bizarre things that's hardwired in. There's a fascinating bit of research that was done. They asked people whether people were worried about their absolute salary or their comparative salary. And this study found people, I can't remember the exact numbers, people would rather be paid something like, I'd rather earn $100,000 a year and know that everyone else in my company is earning $50,000 a year than earn $250,000 a year, but know everyone else is getting paid $500,000. So even though you're getting more than double the money, because you're feeling it's unfair and you're comparing yourself, you would rather everyone has the lower salary. So it's just fascinating.
Oh, the human mind.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Exactly. Okay, James, I feel like you need to do this next one because you've got a personal experience of this with me. I'm going to say it and then you can explain your personal story of me. Learn how to give and take criticism.
Yeah, so my big learning for this is Claire can be quite sensitive and I can be quite direct. And that's not always a great combo. So
I love you.
there's two sides to this, as like most things in life. The first one is if you're receiving criticism, like it's very easy to be hurt by it, but trying to take a perceptive step back from it and just try and listen to what the person's saying rather than getting caught up in the emotional charge of it. Easier said than done sometimes, but also appreciate that person is delivering the criticism through their own lens. So that's not to say disregard stuff, but just have a bit of compassion, not only towards yourself, but towards them. And on the flip side of the coin, when you're delivering criticism, try to have some understanding of what that other person's style or level of sensitivity might be, and try and deliver it constructively.
Yeah, so I always want to do everything perfect. I am a recovering perfectionist. I deal with this a lot better now because we've just grown together. But what I
learned early on going, what's that? It's rubbish. To Claire, did not go down well.
Yeah, strange that. I don't think it would go down very well for anyone, but we also have very different upbringing, so this is where it comes in. So what I would say on that as well is actually ask yourself, rather than having, so that's a trigger for me, rather than having the automatic response, actually just asking yourself, what is that triggering? Because I can guarantee your subconscious mind is bringing up memories when you have felt threatened and you have felt really criticised, and you're bringing that into this present moment. Because here's the thing about the subconscious mind, it's like we always say, if you've been bitten by a dog when you're 5 years old, you know, all dogs are scary right now, and it's like when you see a dog, it's like that's happening right now. Your subconscious mind has no idea of time. So if you're feeling that feeling from that person saying that piece of criticism to you, it's triggering a whole host of other times which aren't that person's fault. And actually just stepping out on that and going, actually, I am not those memories. I am not that. This is a different time, a different moment, and I am removing myself from that and being here right now. What looks different? What are they actually trying to deliver, and what's the positive aspect of what they're trying to deliver to me right now?
Exactly.
So the
next
other one
is set realistic goals for yourself. Listen, it is great to set goals and to stretch. What we don't want to get caught up in is setting completely unrealistic goals. 100 times in your income in 6 months or something like that. If goals are set, if you continue setting unrealistic goals for yourself, you're basically priming yourself for continued failure, and you create this failure feedback loop, which will erode your self-confidence and then make you more resistant to trying new things along the way. So make sure your goals are a stretch but achievable.
And I want to give you the next one. It's try new things. So start hardwiring your brain for stepping outside your comfort zone even when you're not ready, because I've done that so much in the last few years, and I haven't wanted to do them, but I've done them anyway. Why are you laughing? He's laughing. He's obviously remembered something. But try new things, move forward, and that leads on to the next one. Push forward even when you're not ready. So try new things to hardwire your brain, saying, okay, every time basically you survive it. The fear is that you're going to move forward and you're not going to survive it. It's a survival instinct. But when you do and you get something from it, you are hardwiring your brain each time to have a little bit more confidence, a little bit more faith. So it makes it easier as you go. You get momentum of not waiting for everything to be perfect and pushing even when you are not ready.
Last one, well, not the last one actually, because you've tapped something else underneath.
Yeah.
But remember to enjoy the ride. Life's about the journey, not just the destination. So have that goal in mind, but learn to enjoy the way there and see what you learn. Because sometimes we get taken off on a different path, which can be even more rewarding than one we were heading on to start with.
Lordy, that's happened to most of us this year, hasn't it? For sure. Started off on a certain path. 2020 came in. The last one I wanted to say is one that we always go back to, but it's about making positive statements, okay? So things that help me and my perfectionism is just saying to myself every day when I'm doing my positive statements, my positive affirmations, is I am enough. What I am doing is enough. I am great at what I do. And it's giving yourself praise. It's giving yourself praise that actually helps overcome that innate sense of waiting for everything to be perfect and comparing yourself and feeling like you've got massive expectations of yourself. just actually saying the positive statements of, I am enough. Even that in the mirror, I am enough. I am doing enough. I'm doing a great job. I am making my life a masterpiece. It's all happening okay. Everything is becoming easier. I'm moving forward even when I don't feel ready, because that's how I know that my life becomes full of joy. That's it.
Wow, that's very beautiful, Claire. Thank you.
Oh. I just, you know, it's really important to reinforce those, especially because there is a link between the inner critic and the perfectionism. So actually, just feeding yourself really, really loving, caring, compassionate statements actually does take away that sting of always waiting for the perfect time, the perfect situation, you know, the perfect research that you've done, the perfect qualification, the la 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 la, and that time never comes. So we need to give ourselves praise and keep ourselves, you know, upbeat and focused, even when we want to keep being perfect.
We hope you found that useful. Now remember, you can join us on the beach for Boxing Day.
For a very non-perfect workout, probably.
8:30am UK time. That's Saturday, Boxing Day, if you're listening to this live. If you're listening to it sometime in the future, you missed it.
You missed it.
And I think all that's left for us is to wish you all an amazing, amazing Christmas and festivities wherever you are.
Oh, absolutely. Have an amazing one, guys. I know it's a bit different, but we are here for you. Hope you can join us on that Boxing Day live. I will put the link in the show notes for the Facebook group you need to join if you're not in there. But it's the Midlife Mentors community in Facebook. And we will see you on Saturday, hopefully. Sending you lots of love.
See you then.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.